Hey everybody, it's Missy. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me again for another process video. This one is for Shimmerz, and I don't know if you can see that, but that is my Cameo sticky mat and a piece of white cardstock, and I cut a big triangular shaped background on it, and I'm going to try something that I've been wanting to try for a while, and I'm going to color it while it is still attached to my Cameo mat. And the triangles are it's a file from the cut shop, and I'm totally spacing on the name of it, but I will look it up and let you know. I'm taking a lot of different Shimmerz products here, and before I peel this off of my Cameo mat, I want to do all the coloring on it. And the more I start to add the color, you'll be able to see some of the shape, because it's hard to see because it's white. But I started with some Dazzlers there and Pucker Up Pink and Coral Me Crazy, and now I'm coming in with some Shimmerz. And the Shimmerz is more of like an actual liquid paint. Sometimes I use a brush, sometimes I just use my finger. And I want this to be rainbow because I don't know if you saw the picture in the beginning, but it's another what I call hard to scrap picture, and it's a picture of my daughter in another rainbow color shirt. I love rainbows, I'm sure you can tell. So I want this background to be rainbow-like. So I'm going through all of my Shimmerz products and picked out the ones that I think will look pretty in a rainbow array of colors. So I think that blue is Vibes in one of my favorite colors called Jenny B Blue, and I think I used another one of the colorings there, Oh Say Can You See. That's an orange tinted spray. I believe that is Vibes Sunset Strip. There's also another orange tone one in colorings. The colorings are just flat color, and the Vibes are bright color as well, but they have a shimmery iridescent finish to them. So I'm coming in with some Inklings. Inklings are like a really pretty shimmery watercolor, and there's just so many products to choose from. And as you can see, they all have gorgeous colors. Some of them are light, more of a pastel color, whereas other ones are bold and bright. That's one of my favorite yellows. It's a colorings, and it's called No Yoking. I think that's hilarious. Like no joking, but it's yellow, so no yoking. The names of these products are funny. They're just really cute. Now that is really neat. I haven't used this one yet. This is a Textures, and it's called Brick Wall. It's kind of an orangey red color, and it's basically, it reminds me of face scrub. It's got little granules in it, so it leaves some gritty texture on your paper. I don't know, it reminds me of sand. So that's a really cool background product to use as well. So my rainbow is starting to come together here, and my cut file almost takes up the whole sheet, but not quite. And this is a really pretty green Shimmerz color. It's called Jilted Jade, and it can go on with a brush. I can, I like to use my finger. It just depends on what I'm doing here. And it dries shiny. They're so pretty. They just each one of these products has a different finish, and they're just really neat to mix all together like this. So I'm just splattering some blue on there. I believe that's Colorings in Heidi Ho Blue, another gorgeous blue color. And this is going to look really neat when I'm finished. I know I spend a lot of this video building the background. See all the different shines? But I wanted to show you all these different products. Now that right there is Inklings, and that's called Beats Me. It's a really pretty light pink. And the thickness of it depends on how much water you add to it, because when you get it, it's kind of like a dry, hard material, and then you add water and let it sit for a little bit and start to stir it up, and it gets more and more liquidy. It can be creamy or it can be thin. It just depends on how much water you add to it and the consistency that you want. That's another one of my favorite blues. That's Shimmerz in Tickle Me Turquoise. The Shimmerz paints are a little bit thicker, whereas the Inklings can be thinner if you add water. They all have different consistencies and different finishes, and it's just neat to play with all the different ones. It just depends on what look you're going for. That's Tuscan Sun, and Tuscan Sun is a spritz, which is another. The spritz is dry, kind of light, and have a really pretty pearly iridescent tone to them, whereas the Vibes are kind of the same, but they have a more bright, rich color. And you know, if you follow my channel, that I love bright, rich colors. So I'm all about mixing all of these. They all layer really nicely. And I'd never really done anything like this before, especially on my cutting mat, because you know how precious your cutting mats are. You don't want to ruin them. And this surprisingly did not ruin my mat at all. So here I go. It's still kind of wet, but I'm going to start to peel away. It's like magic. It's really cool. This shape starts to appear. And if you don't have a Cameo, you know, I love my Cameo. I've done so much with it. You can cut any font you want. You can create your own shapes. You can buy shapes from, you know, the Silhouette store, the Cut Shop. There's a couple of new stores out there that have cut files. There's just, the possibilities are endless. There's a technique where you can print something and then cut it out. I haven't learned how to do that, but it's just, the possibilities are endless. You can cut on cardstock. You can cut on pattern paper. You can even cut on vinyl. I don't go that far, but there's tons of things you can do. That little spatula is key here because my paper's still kind of wet. Parts of it is dry, and you know, parts of the little parts like that are they kind of got stuck in there, especially since I put the Dazzlers on there. The Dazzlers is the thickest, creamiest of the products that I use today. So this took me a while, I'm not going to lie, and I don't make you sit and watch all of it. I did cut a lot of it out because it does take a while to peel that off. But you just have to go slow, and you have to use that little, you don't have to, but using that little spatula really makes a big difference because it does help scoop everything up without tearing. So I really, really love how this turned out, and I highly recommend doing it if you want to customize something on white cardstock. Because see, I think if I would have peeled this off first and then tried to color it, it would have warped, it would have broken, and this kind of helped keep it flat and just made it a lot easier for me to add all that color. And I know my lights on my desk are so bright, it's kind of washing this out, but it's really pretty rainbow, and it's going to make the greatest background. I was squealing when I saw this. I was like, oh my gosh, this looks so cool. You know, has that ever happened to you where something turns out better than you anticipated? Usually it's the opposite. But I like the way it matches the picture, and it's shiny, it's sparkly, it's got flat color, it's got shimmeries, it's got shiny, it's got a little bit of everything. So I want a little bit of something in the background. So I'm taking, this is not completely black, it's a dark gray. It's Vibes. It's called Before Dawn. So when it dries, there's a little bit of iridescent color, but it's going to be a background element. So these little black dots are going to show through because there is some black in the picture. I wanted some black elements in the layout. So as you can see there, it kind of dried, and it's just going to pop through the triangles like that. And then I went to my shelf of random papers. I can even tell you the brands of half of these. I know one of them is from Recollections, and one of them is Paper Studio from Hobby Lobby. That pink one is. But every time I go to Michael's or Hobby Lobby, did I just say that? Hobby Lobby. I browse the loose leaf papers because, you know, you never know when you find a color that you might want to use for layering, just like this. So I always, you know, I like pink. I like the bright colors, so I always try to keep some solid pinks and some stripes and polka dots and chevrons and things like that, just for layering, for when I make a layout like this and I'm not really using an actual collection. So I'm going to kind of echo the rainbow colors and make some layers. I don't know where that yellow paper came from. I've had it for years. Back when I first started scrapbooking, all I did was buy random sheets from my local scrapbook store. Whatever, I just bought it because I liked it. I never bought collections until I, you know, started scrapping online and things like that. So these are just random sheets that I've kept, and you know how you keep things and you're like, well, one day I'll use it. Well, I'm using it today, so there you go. So I'm just going to fiddle around with my layers because I want them all to show, but I don't want them to cover up that background completely. But I really, really was excited with how this was going to turn out because I wasn't sure. You know, I thought, please don't break but please don't mess up my cutting mat. I was kind of nervous to try it, but it worked out great. None of the wetness got on the sticky mat at all. So Anyway, what I'm doing now, I'm taking just a little bit of color and adding it to the background. I don't want to cover up all that white because I do want the color to show from the triangles, but I do want a little bit of messy factor going on in the background. So I add a little bit of blue. I think I come in with some pink and some yellow, but not too much. I do use a couple of, excuse me, a couple of stencils there. And I just want some more color peeking around the picture and peeking through the triangles. I'm going to add some orange. I think that's Mandarin Mai Tai. And then I just flip the stencil over and use it as a stamp. So I have the opposite of the filled in squares. I have the empty squares. So that's another cool technique that you can do with Shimmerz products, is spray them on the stencil and then flip it over and stamp it down. That way you're not wasting any of the spray. I'm really going to try this technique again. It was really fun. And this is another, it looks complicated, but if you can cut a cut file like that and take some paint or some spray and you smudge it on, and you peel it off, and voila, you have a mixed media background that looks very complicated, but it's really not. And you see here, I'm just spraying things down, spraying through a stencil, and this looks really, really difficult. If someone did not know how this was put together, they would probably think, oh my gosh, that must have took ages. How did you do that? But you saw it's not hard. This is a great way to start mixed media. I know a lot of people say they want to do it, but they're scared. They don't want to. They're afraid they're going to mess things up. You can't mess this up. You know, you could actually do this cut file on your cutting mat and color it like this, and you don't have to add anything to your cardstock. You could have left it white, and it would still look very pretty. You can customize it to any color you want. Tons of different cut files all over the place to pick. So I'm going through some of my American Crafts. I think that is the Rise and Shine collection. Yes, it is. And the colors just happened to go with my little rainbow situation here. So I just went through the embellishments and kind of picked and choose some ones that I think will go. And I didn't feel like using individual dots there, so I just cut some of my background pop dots, or some of the backing, and use those. I'm going to add in a little bit of washi tape. This is a roll from Freckled Fawn, and it matches the colors perfectly. It's a little floral roll of tape, and I don't ever really get to use it because, you know, it's specific colors, but it matched perfectly with those colors, so I had to put it in there somewhere. And I fought with the title for a long time, so I cut a lot of that out. This video, I had like 30 minutes of video because it took me a while, so I cut a lot of it out to save you the agony of watching this. I try to make my videos under 15 minutes, so I cut out the unnecessary stuff. All of those words, "You're always amazing," those are all from the American Crafts. Some of it is from Stitched. The word always is from the Stitched collection, but you know how those collections sort of can be intermingled because they have a lot of the same pretty colors, and they just look nice mixed up. That is a very old chipboard butterfly that I've had forever. I colored it with some of these Shimmerz products. I'm adding in a couple of rub-ons, and now I'm adding my journaling. I did add some stamping. Those little circles here and there are stamps that I fussy cut out. And now I'm bringing in my date stamp, and that's it. That is it. Just a lot of playing around with different paints, all these different Shimmerz products. You can get them from the Shimmerz website. I have the Shimmerz store website down below in my description, and I will have a list of all the different products that I used coming up. I hope you enjoyed watching this. Definitely check out the Shimmerz store. There's so many products, so many fun ways to use them, and just you can customize anything you want. So thank you guys so much for sticking with me through this today, and I will see you again next time. Have a good day.